Thank you all for being here. I'm just going to go straight to questions. I know that we've got you going through the lunch hour and you've probably got some other press conference to be at, so I'll just open straight up to questions.
There's still no go on funding on Medicaid?
There's no agreement on the funding on Medicaid yet.
Are you still negotiating it, or is it, there's no movement whatsoever?
We have given a couple proposals. We're waiting to get more specific details from governor's office.
Other proposals besides the shop fee? I mean, other things you're looking at?
Yeah, there's a multitude of funding streams that we've looked at, different funding streams. The proposal that was floated out in the JCAB, about $75 million came out of SHOP, and then the total needs to be anywhere between 130 to 150. So yeah, there's other funding sources at play.
The governor said he's going to, the healthcare authority is going to submit to the feds tomorrow the state plan amendment saying they want to expand Medicaid, and the governor seems to think that they can do that without having a funding stream in place. Oh my God, I can't talk today. Is that your understanding, or?
I'll let him speak for himself. We're looking for more specifics on what a plan is beyond that. State plan amendment is just are you expanding or not expanding, and then the waiver that he's talked about when he was in D.C. and here in the state would be another step in that process. So still eagerly awaiting more specifics.
Why would you legislative action to submit an amendment to expand Medicaid?
That's probably best answered by him. We've looked at it. The state plan amendment is pretty much just check the box, are you going to expand or not. There doesn't seem to be a restriction on his ability to check that box.
Didn't you pass some legislation in 2010, 11, preventing Medicaid expansion?
So I've tried to look into that. To be honest with you, early on when we were having this discussion, the best I can find right now is some simple resolutions that were passed, non-binding. And so I'm still open to someone pointing out statute, but I have not found that prohibition yet.
Do you foresee a situation in which, I mean, I guess I don't know the best way to ask this, but it seems like, why would the legislature want to give the governor a funding plan unless you've seen all the details of what that waiver is going to look like and what his plan is going to look like? So
there were some discussions on timing of being able to submit these type of plans and then get people covered by this summer. Obviously the JCAB vehicle fell through, and I haven't been seeking other solutions to it. I've been awaiting the governor to give us what solutions he sees as viable.
Do you have concerns about how this whole process is going right now? You kind of have at least two, if not more, competing Medicaid expansion plans. Do you have concerns about how this is going right now?
Well, I have concerns about the state question, and so I do share that with the governor, that having a rigid enshrinement of expansion with no ability to treat the two populations, the traditional Medicaid and the expansion population separately, is very dangerous financially and just innovation-wise for the state. So I'm not concerned about having two competing proposals. I would like to know more details on the healthy adult, whatever, HAO, whatever the O stands for. Opportunities, yeah.
Is it hard for your caucus to embrace a funding plan when they don't know what the governor's expansion plan looks like?
So when we were trying to go the JCAB route earlier, we were giving the governor some trust that we would still have a seat at the table on the delivery model and how does that work, which is my understanding needs to be submitted sometime in April. I don't know if that's still the case. When we were talking JCAB, that was the case. So we thought we could get past the funding and then get an agreement on the actual delivery model. Obviously that broke down.
Why did it break down?
There was an agreement that was had, and a party to that agreement no longer wanted to go that avenue.
What does next week look like? Deadline March 12th, is that correct?
So yes. So it's just going to be busy. It all depends on how many members request bills. Senator David has been granting the vast majority of requests the day that people have requested them, not all. And so it's just a matter of when do members get their request in. Still, all of my own bills I haven't requested yet, so we always anticipate Wednesday being a late night on deadline week for floor work, and probably Tuesday as well.
Have you been approached at all by STIT on expanding gaming in the state? A lot of commercial operators or different games such as...
No, I've seen those comments in the public space, but we have not talked about that.
You have not? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you would be agreeable to or not?
I would have to see the details. Obviously, that would be violative of compacts if we give exclusivity. I think what I've tried to see is what happens with this mediation before we make any big decisions like that.
Do you think there's any support among Republican senators of just doing a traditional Medicaid expansion so it's not in the Constitution?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
Do you think there's enough support among your caucus to do just a traditional expansion without, that way it's just in statute, not in the Constitution?
I think I've long been opposed to Medicaid expansion, and I was open to the idea to be able to keep it out of the Constitution, and I think I'm pretty representative of my caucus.
Any discussion about health department funding being affected at all by coronavirus anticipations? That's a terrible way to phrase that. But
I know what you mean. Obviously, I've been paying attention to the federal group that was put together by President Trump, and there's been talks of some grants to states in the event that there's a more widespread exposure to the coronavirus in states across the nation. I think our health department has done a pretty good job of trying to get in position to be ready in case that were to happen. The funding side, we stand ready if we need to, but that has not been a conversation thus far. Anything else?
What's the best bill left?
All my bills.
Which one?
Yeah, just you pick. Put all my bills on a dartboard, throw a dart at it, and whichever one it lands on, that is absolutely the best bill. No, I think there's still a lot of work to be done, and many of the bills that we're passing right now still have title off, so there's going to be a lot of work still left in April and May as well to try to get these done. But yeah, just any one of my bills, just randomly pick one of my bills, and that is the best.
What do you think about that YAC bill on automobiles?
That was title off. That's a good example. Yeah, I think there's always been a desire ever since we passed that. That was something that we had to do in order to get the whole revenue package passed 3 years ago, I guess. That was always one that was less palatable than the other funding sources we found, but we want to make sure we don't erode our tax base in such a way that's not sustainable. And so we'll look at it in the whole scheme of the budget when we get down to budget negotiations to see if it's something that works at that time.
See, it's pretty iffy at this point, kind of sounds
I think so. I think there's a reason the title's off. It's still, Senator Yack obviously believes in it. A lot of us believe that we would like to at least give people credit for the trade-in value, like many other states do. But we're also cognizant of the fact the Board of Equalization came back with a lower number, and we want to make sure that we balance the budget in a prudent manner.
You said a while back you maybe had some concerns about reducing the qualifications for some positions, and maybe it wasn't concerns with those, but concerns for the appointees in those positions. Have you looked at that anymore?
Yeah, to be brutally honest, we've been talking about other issues that have dominated my time, but I still want to see what was the original justification for those requirements, and is there a justification for removing them, changing them, amending them? And that's it'd be a lie to say it's an ongoing discussion, but it's an ongoing thought in my head that I want to have a discussion about.
What's the schedule look like for spring break?
Honestly, don't know yet. It'll be pretty normal. Yeah, that's pretty typical for the Senate. We'll have pretty light load more than likely.
When is it, spring break?
So spring break would be in 2 weeks, I think. So March 14th is the next. So I guess 2 weeks. Yeah. So go ask Senator David. It's her floor. But I anticipate it being very typical for those of you who've been out here for a number of years. I don't think it'll be any different than you've seen in the past.
Yesterday, was there a moment when it was almost your floor again?
When was that?
You walked by her desk, you looked at the mic, she was off the floor, it was a long vote, and it appeared you were going to call the vote. Did you consider it?
No, I don't know what was going through my mind at that
Oh
time.
man, it looked like you were gonna do that.
No,
I was cheering.
no. You know how I am. I'm kind of impatient, so I like things to move forward. So I may have been trying to encourage her to move things forward, but
She wasn't on the floor.
Yeah,
You were right there.
man, I have no idea what was going through my mind at that very moment. I'm glad you paid that close attention, though. That's a good journalist. I like that.
Strong leaders know how to not act on their impulses.
Hey, there you go. Yes.
That's what it was.
All right. Thank you.